Welcome back to the Dr. Disaster Daily Show. I am your host, the ever-charming space pirate captain, Dr. Disaster, and today we're going to be talking about The Acolyte, the upcoming Star Wars show on Disney Plus, headed up by the former secretary of Harvey Weinstein, who thinks that it is her job, her duty, to preach to us, to explain to us what modern America, what modern culture and society looks like through the lens of this queer, female, once again, former secretary of Harvey Weinstein, the pillar of morality that she is. She needs to talk to us about what we should be thinking.
Oh, goody.
I mean, I thought her job really ought to be, continuing to get coffee for people. But, somebody, Kathleen Kennedy, I suppose, thought it'd be a good idea for her to tell stories. So here we are. She's telling stories, and these stories are apparently going to be all about modernity. But I'm reminded of a quote that I heard just a couple of days ago from the Disney investors call. Let me pull this up real quick here. This is from Bob Iger, who said, "We realized that we made a lot of content that is not necessarily driving sub growth, and we're getting much more surgical about what it is we make." Really, my dude? You're getting much more surgical, and yet The Acolyte persists in existing. Fantastic, bro. Apparently, your surgical approach to during your surgical approach to content that you put out, you forgot about the massive tumor that is The Acolyte. Apparently you just forgot about it. You're like the surgeon who went in to remove all the tumors and just didn't see them all. Like, fantastic. There's this massive one that is going to eat up your platform and kill it, and you're going, you know what? I don't think it's that important.
This is fine.
I don't think it's that important. Well, I'm warning you that it is. I'm warning you that this sort of thing just drives people away. We don't care about it. We're going to take a deep look at what Leslye Headland, the former secretary of Harvey Weinstein, has to say about what this show is about, because I'm going to push back against everything she says. Everything she says is basically incorrect. And I'm going to push back. I'm not going to put up with her nonsense. She's a pseudo-intellectual, somebody who thinks she's a hell of a lot smarter than she is. And just, full disclosure, I know that pertains to me as well. I am not the smartest man in the world, but I am certainly smart enough to realize somebody who's full of shit. And in the comment section, I'd like to hear how excited you are about Leslye Headland's upcoming The Acolyte. Tell me, I want to know just how excited you are. Like, what you're gonna be eating when you watch it. Are popcorn, pizza? I want to know what you're gonna be, how many friends you're gonna invite over. Tell me all about the watch party that you have planned for The Acolyte.
Where did everybody go?
Alright, so let's delve into this article from Bounding Into Comics. Leslye Headland confirms the upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, will look into what's going on for all of us right now. God, that is so pretentious, isn't it? It is so pretentious. I can't believe that somebody would think that they can tell us what the world is looking like. Like, has the audacity to be that preachy, I guess, is really what it comes down to. And to be that open about it. I'm going to preach to you. It's one thing when someone is preachy. It's another thing when they say, well, sit down and and get out the popcorn, boys. I am about to preach to you. Jesus, Lord Almighty, I can't even believe that somebody would speak like that. But, I should believe it by now. These people continue to tell us who they are. They are preachy, woke losers who just buy into all the buzzwords. They listen to all the buzzwords in Hollywood. That's how she moved up, right? Like she worked for Harvey Weinstein. That's how she got her big break. She played ball. She played the game. And I promise you, she knew what was going on with Harvey Weinstein. I would be shocked if she didn't. And she played ball. She didn't say anything. She's not the reason that he was arrested. She was perfectly fine with it because it wasn't happening to her. It's all about her. But, okay, let's continue on. The Acolyte creator, Leslye Headland, recently confirmed that the upcoming Star Wars series on Disney Plus will be a commentary on current American society, culture, and politics. In an interview with Empire magazine that was shared to the Star Wars Leaks subreddit, Headland discussed the series, saying, "When you're doing something completely original, like we are, you want to question the status quo of the era that you live in." Alright, I'm gonna have to stop a lot throughout this article. She says a lot of really bullshit stuff. But you're not doing anything original, sweetheart. I'm sorry, Star Wars has been done to death. I mean, you think that you're original because you're doing like a villain-centered story. She's going to say that in a little bit. She's going to talk about how it's so cool that they're telling a story from the perspective of the bad guys. Well, I got news for you. It has been done before. This sounds like The Force Unleashed to a degree. You know, the secret apprentice of Darth Vader being used in Vader's... I mean, at least at first, that was being told from the bad guy's eyes, because you were working for Darth Vader. Knights of the Old Republic was very bad guy-centric, especially when you consider that you were, in fact, Darth Revan the entire time. It's not that original. It's not that original. You're not doing anything seminal, original. It's just a Star Wars story at this point. But she continued, "What I think is so interesting right now is that everybody thinks they're right. The Jedi really think they're right, and George tells us that they're wrong in Phantom. They missed a huge aspect of the dark side rising. That just felt like fertile ground to look into what's going on for all of us right now." Now, if she means by that, and I know she doesn't, but if she means by that people like her think they know everything and are in for a rude awakening because they don't know shit, well then sure, I agree with you, but she, of course, ironically, is going to be referring to normal people like you and I, the little people, the regular people who get up and go to work. You know, we kiss our kids goodbye and our wife or husband goodbye, go to work 9 to 5 or whatever your shift is, and, come home and you have a meal together, you put the kids to bed and you go to sleep, and that's your day. Now, she wants to tell us that you and I are wrong and that actually we need to embrace whatever the hell it is that she wants for us. Okay? She wants us to bow down to her infinite wisdom. The lady who's never had children, who has an ideology in place of that. She wants to tell us that we're not right, that we're not correct. And don't get me wrong, I actually don't give a rat's rear end what she does with her life. It doesn't bother me who she sleeps with, doesn't bother me who she's friends with, it doesn't bother me that she doesn't have children or anything like that. I don't care. You can do whatever you want to, but what I do care about is you trying to push this kind of dog shit on other people. It ain't gonna work. We reject it, utterly. Not only did Headland confirm the show will be a commentary on current American society, culture, and politics, but she seemed to imply the focus of the show being on female villains are self-inserts. Well, of course. I mean, someone like her is absolutely going to identify with the villain. 100%. When I was a young queer girl, I was just hanging out with Ursula the Sea Witch from The Little Mermaid. As a queer girl growing up, if you don't identify with the heroes and the villains show up and they're all queer-coded, you're like, yes, that's me. I can't handle it. I can't handle the buzzwords.
That was so terrible, I think you gave me cancer.
Queer-coded. Just because somebody is a little bit campy or whatever doesn't mean that they're gay. Okay, it doesn't mean that. And it's fine if they are, but it doesn't mean that. My lord, would you stop this? They try to fight against stereotypes, and yet they embrace stereotypes. It doesn't make sense. And this next quote is a perfect example of that. Headland added, as a queer filmmaker, you're going to see some camp. Inevitably. But I would say that tonally, our references are darker. I mean, why? Why do we have to see camp? Why do you have to be a living, breathing stereotype? You know how I know that the writing in this show is garbage? Because she can't think of anything new and original. She talks about how new and original she is, but she's not. This is not new. This is not original. It's nonsense. Okay? I'm going to repeat Tim Pool's definition, maybe not verbatim, of what wokeness is. It is an algorithm. It is the result of algorithms poisoning the minds of all these people, these creators, people who are terminally online are being ruined by algorithms. Google, YouTube, Twitter, old Twitter anyway, told you that this is what people want, and it's nonsense. There's no logic behind it because it's all based on an algorithm, and that's what she is. She is illogical. There's not even any moral framework. It's just, whatever the group says, she's going to say it too, and it's disgusting. I don't know what life is like as a sheep, but I imagine it kind of sucks. Anyway, going on. During an appearance at Star Wars Celebration back in April, Headland made it clear the series would be told from the perspective of the villains. Oh, that's so seminal and original. I can't believe it. Just being told from the perspective of villains. She said, I think one of the things that would be helpful to kind of put in perspective is that we're at the end of that High Republic era and moving more into George's era of the Phantom Menace. So my question became, as a fan, when I initially pitched the show to Kathleen Kennedy, which was an original idea with new characters and not connecting it to Skywalker Saga or any of the existing characters in the High Republic, Headland continued, what I wanted it to introduce the fans to the concept too was how do you reconcile the Jedi at the height of their power, the galaxy at the height of this age of enlightenment and peace, and who George says they become at the top of the Phantom Menace? And to me that meant, why don't you tell a story about Star Wars from the perspective of the villains, of the bad guys? And if those bad guys are outnumbered at this point, then that means that you get this opportunity to see how the Jedi very subtly go from who they were in the High Republic and the Old Republic, and who they became by the time you're watching episodes 1, 2, and 3. Holy crap, that is a whole lot of word salad. Just because, once again, you're operating from the perspective of some bad guys does not mean you've come up with some truly original idea. This is nonsense. Back in June of 2021, Headland confirmed the series would be female-centric during an interview with YouTuber Fantastic Frankie. She said, just because my show is technically, yes, female-centric, meaning it centers around a female protagonist, I don't think that necessarily excludes men from that space. Oh, really? Does it work in reverse? Because I'm pretty much told on a daily basis that it does not. If, women aren't the lead in a show, then it's not for women. Then it's just a bunch of toxic masculinity. Or if there aren't black folks in the show, then there's no way that they can identify with the characters. We hear this all the time. If you don't see a perfect representation of yourself, meaning, these external characteristics your sexuality, your skin color, your gender, if you don't see exactly what you are on TV, then you can't possibly identify with it. That's why Ariel had to be black, for example, in the new Little Mermaid show. It makes no damn sense. Once again, these people, there's no logic behind what they're saying. It's just garbage. It's just garbage. They say things to say things. They say it to fit in. That's it. They just want to show you that they are part of the in crowd. Headland would go on to explain, listen, I relate to male characters all the time. Like I root for Mando, like I root for Luke, I like deeply. Well, not sure how much I care about Han Solo anymore. When I was little, I really liked him. When I watch him now, I'm kinda like, gosh, a lot of my psyche makes sense now. You can't even be a Star Wars fan if you don't like Han Solo. Once again, I'd like to point out that you guys talk all the time. This is your ideology that says that if I don't see myself on screen, if I don't see a male on the screen as the protagonist, I can't possibly see myself. I can't possibly identify. That's your ideology, ma'am. Or doesn't it work that way? Are we not equal? Is that what you're saying? That women are especially needy? Is that what you're saying? That they have to see themselves on screen but men don't? Because we're tough enough to handle it? What are you saying right now? I mean, I know what you're actually saying, which is, hey, you know what? Don't hold my own philosophy against me, is what she's saying, because in a little bit down the road, she starts talking about how she'd love people to join her on this journey, how she'd love people to come and watch her show because it's going to be so cool, blah, blah, blah. And, it's too late for that, sweetheart. It is entirely too late. She says here, I think that an inclusive space means an inclusive space, but at the same time, I think that just because something has a female protagonist doesn't mean it's only meant for women. And I can't take any more of this bullshit, so I'm going to stop there with the article. But once again, please note how it doesn't work in reverse. If we have the Ghostbusters, for example, on screen with 4 male characters, they can't possibly relate to that. Can't possibly do it. If we have, He-Man on screen, we can't possibly relate to that as a woman. We've got to have, She-Man or whatever the hell, Sheila, whatever the hell her name is, Tila, I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched Masters of the Universe. It's ridiculous, the hypocrisy here. And she doesn't want to be called out, and that's what this is all about. She wants men to come and watch her show, even though, once again, the ideology that she espouses would suggest that men are not being represented here, because if this is female-centric, then, I'm not supposed to even watch it. I'm supposed to be all mad at it or something. Which, I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm mad at it. I'm really just apathetic. I just don't care about this show. Why would I? You've told me that it's not for me, essentially. And that's fine. You go ahead and make shows for you, and let's just keep watching Disney's stock plummet and Disney subscribers run away in droves.
Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your captain is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.